Hello and welcome into a Friday edition of the Computer America Show. Got a great program planned for you tonight. In the first hour, we're going to be talking to the CEO creator of Fingerprint is going to be here. And then in the second hour, we're going to talk about the GoSun stove. It's a solar stove technology. And we'll have computer technology news brought to you by Slimmer Utilities if time allows. So also we have our show, we have our social media winner of the week.
1 minute until showtime.
We're giving away that Logitech Anywhere MX2 wireless mouse valued at $80. So also a news test bulletin review, 2 of them from Marty Winston. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show as we begin 2 hours on a Friday edition of the Computer America Show. Fifteen seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
The Computer America Show is brought to you by Bell Ringers. It's newer than news when you're right there as it first debuts. Visit our sponsor's website at bellringersmedia.com. Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it's Friday! Yeah.
Now time it rolled around.
Yeah, another week of broadcasting excellence under the mountain, deep in the bowels of the earth. So
on and so forth.
Yes, exactly.
Amen.
How about under the ocean for a change?
No, see, that's where we keep our dolphins, and we don't like to store hazardous material next to our dolphins.
I see. All right.
Yes, the Computer America Show is considered hazardous material.
Yes, it can.
The more you know.
You have to be careful with it. Exactly. But anyway, it is Friday, and that means, of course, we have our social media winner of the week that we're going to announce. Yeah. So there's that. We're giving away that Logitech Anywhere MX2 wireless mouse valued at $80. Some lucky person is going to win that. We'll probably give that away in the second hour of the show. And let's see. Any good movies coming out this weekend?
Yeah, we just talked about one Mission Impossible, I think.
Oh, that's right. Mission Impossible. Oh, dun, 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 dun. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is like, what, 50-something and still does all of his own stunts?
Hanging off the airplanes. And
yeah, it's crazy what he's doing.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. Looks like a very good movie. I've seen all of them, all of his movies. I mean, I watched Mission Impossible when it was on TV, the original version. So it goes way back, probably before your time, Ben.
I doubt that. Mid-90s.
Mid-90s. But it was was it the mid-90s when the TV show came out? There was a second version, but the original version, I think, was.
I had no idea it was a TV show. I thought it was all.
No.
I thought it was just a movie franchise.
Nope. It was originally a TV show, a very successful TV show, by the way.
Who knew?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I knew.
What, was Tom Cruise still in it?
No, Tom Cruise was not in it. No.
Okay, so it must have been like the 70s or something because you're laughing.
No, yes, it was something like that. What's the silver-haired gentleman's name? That was he was the head of the mission.
There's so many silver-haired people in the world.
Exactly.
Sean Connery.
No. I can't. I'll think of it in a minute. Anyhow, that movie premieres tonight. Let's see. Okay, so now in the second hour, we're going to hopefully have GoSun stove. This is a solar stove, but it's high technology, unlike anything that's been
See,
done before.
it's high technology, but at the same time, it's not high technology. It's solar-powered vacuum tubes, but but the only power source is, of course, the sun.
And you don't even need the sun to cook it. That's what's really, even on a cloudy day, this thing's going to work.
It magnifies what little solar energy there may be, and it cooks your food very, very quickly. So it's high tech, but at the same time, don't even need to plug it into the wall.
And then after that, if we have time, we're going to do computer and technology news, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And our first hour guests, we're going to be talking to Fingerprint. We have the company's CEO of Fingerprint, Nancy McIntyre, is going to be here talking about what it is that they do, basically how to effectively reach parents and children with highly relevant entertainment. And it's very cool what they do, and we're going to have Nancy talking about that momentarily. If you have a comment or a question for us, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. You can also, if you're radio shy and you don't want to go on the air, we have another mechanism you can just write in the upper right-hand corner of any of our Computer America pages is click to submit a question. You can just click that, or and it'll take you to our question submission page. You put your email address, your name, and your question in there. Also, perhaps I think there's a new field that says the name of the guest that of whom you want to ask the question, and click submit. And Ben and I will see that, and if we think it's relevant, we'll ask that question on the air. You don't have to go on the air to ask it.
Very simple.
Yeah, very simple. The other thing is that we have our show lounge. If you click on that, it will open up another page, and that will activate the live video stream of Computer America. That's right. We are not only a radio talk show, but we also stream live video. And you'll see myself, you'll see Ben, sometimes you'll see the guest. And the other thing that you'll get to see, other than two handsome people talking to each other on the air, is Ben has the...
That's funny. I don't see any mirror here. That's strange.
You'll see Ben has the technology to display websites, videos in the background. He can take his giant head and reduce it to a tiny little head in one of the quarters, and you can see everything going on in the background. So you can see all the animations or websites, and it's just makes for a more enriched experience here on the Computer America Show. We'd love to have you join us with the live video. So that's pretty much it. Anything else you want to mention before we bring on our first guest of the hour, Ben?
No, yeah, just remember to stick around in the second hour for maybe hearing your name as the winner of our Logitech mouse. But other than that, no, I think we've effectively stalled for enough time, and we're ready to go.
Okay. All right. Well, as I said, Fingerprint is the name of the company, and the Fingerprint is a global mobile technology company that powers games and curates play and learn content to targeted customers around the world through dedicated mobile networks. The company is growing at a rapid rate as global brands look to efficiently and effectively reach parents and children with highly relevant entertainment, which today is nearly all mobile industry leaders in mobile technology, edutainment, broadcast, and more licensed Fingerprint's technology platform and content solution. Now, here to explain everything here is Nancy McIntyre. Nancy is the CEO of Fingerprint. Nancy, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Our pleasure.
Yes, absolutely. So why don't you, in your own words, tell our listeners a little bit about Fingerprint itself? I had a brief introduction, but why don't you explain to our listeners what you do at Fingerprint?
Great. Well, just a little background. I started the company in 2011, a couple years after the iPhone came out, with, really a vision around how could you bring entertainment and education to kids and family on tablets and phones, because it was obvious to me that that would be the future. And we developed a technology that allows apps to be linked together within one network, which we call our technology platform, and essentially create a network of content, all learning games or entertainment games or whatever kind of content the partner wants, that can then be sold to families with children to offer them really a curated experience. And so we've been doing that for roughly 4 years now, and I'm reaching millions of kids with a broad range of content.
Okay. Now, you said you founded the company in 2010. Why did you leave the corporate world? Because
that's a great question.
Yeah, to become this kind of entrepreneur, and leave the security of, I assume, a paycheck every week, those nice safe things. 401k,
it's sort of
medical.
Well, I would say, I guess my perspective is that really no one is ever safe in corporate America, and you're really a lot more safe working where you can control your own destiny. So, that's just sort of my point of view on things. But nevertheless, I was running product development and marketing at Leapfrog Enterprises, which is, one of the leading connected educational toy companies. And in 2008, the iPhone came out, and when you work in the toy business, what you worry about is kids growing out of toys and moving into Nintendo. And that at least was the conventional wisdom back in, 2008, 2009. But the iPhone comes out, and almost immediately we saw parents handing their phones off to, 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds, and the touchscreen interface and the accessibility of content made it really almost a perfect device. And I just became obsessed with what could touchscreen devices offer to kids in terms of a play experience and the learning experience. And I thought this was a platform that I really wanted to be involved with. And so in 2010, I cashed in my chips and started Fingerprint.
So you saw ahead of time that I think was actually a right one, because first of all, you're here on the show with us, and second of all, it just seems right where maybe the dedicated devices, because Leapfrog, we've had them on the show, they have great devices for kids, very durable and very easy to use. But it seems like when you have to entertain your kid in the back seat, when you have to entertain your kid, out and about, whatever you have to do, parents seem to have no issue handing over their phone, their tablet, or other $600 to $800 piece of equipment. It seems, and they'd rather do that than have to carry around a dedicated device. Is this what you just saw, or is this what you saw, where the dedicated device, while useful in some cases, isn't what people are going for?
Well, I think there's sort of two pieces to this. In the beginning, going back to when the iPhone and Android devices were initially launched back in, 2008, et cetera, the conventional wisdom was no one is going to hand a $600 phone to a child. But almost from the very beginning, parents realized that they could hand their phone to a child and became an instant babysitter. You started to see it in restaurants, and you started to see it, when you're waiting at the dentist office or whatever. There was enough engaging content that you could hand it off. The kid would start playing it, and it became that babysitter, or that experience that your child could do just for a few minutes to keep them quiet while you were doing something else as the parent. And over time, as the iPad came out and other tablets came out, you began to see that the touchscreen devices and mobile devices really became an entertainment platform. And so they were actually competing with, the Nintendo DS and other types of handheld gaming systems, and parents began to realize, like, hey, I can hand down my old iPod Touch, or I can buy an iPad or another kind of tablet, and that'll become the entertainment platform of choice in the household, because it was really replacing dedicated game systems, dedicated video players, phone systems, etc. So first there was the parent, sort of recognition that devices were a great entertainment platform for their kids. And then as the market began to evolve a little bit, you began to see many, many entries for low price tablets come into the market. And that was people like Leapfrog and VTech and Fuhu and, many, many different kinds of tablets, and parents beginning to think, okay, do I buy a dedicated tablet for my child? And if so, do I buy a low price tablet or a full end tablet? And I think, what you're beginning to see now is that there's a certain segment of the population that wants the highest quality initial tablet that you can get for your child, and those people tend to buy, the Samsung Kids tablet or an iPad Mini or maybe the Amazon Kindle. And then there are the parents that tend to think about it more like the initial purchase is more like a toy purchase. And those people tend to buy like the Leapfrog tablet or the, VTech tablet. So it's actually, fairly complicated decision process depending on the family.
So you're perfectly fine with either one of those, where it can either be a toy, a purely entertainment device, and then there are others that think, this thing may carry them for a couple of years and actually be not just a toy, but also a tool, and they kind of go out and take it a step further.
Yeah, I mean, my perspective is I want kids. I'm all about inspiring kids to learn and inspiring a love of learning and getting kids off to a good start with reading. And so, my perspective is, however you can deliver the content on whatever device, that's okay. My personal bias is that, I think you should always be investing in your kid's future. And my personal bias is around buying the best possible tablet, like a Samsung Kids tablet or an iPad or a Kindle that's going to grow with your child. So that, you're not just buying a toy tablet that's suitable for, 3 or 4 year old, but I've got my Samsung tablet that my 12-year-old can still play.
Sure.
Because it can run all the latest games and run video, et cetera. So I tend to think that, parents should be choosing a tablet product or a phone tablet that can grow with the child. So I tend to go with, the best tablets out there.
So, now you're located in Silicon Valley, correct?
In San Francisco, yeah.
All right. So, is it made it easier or harder to grow your company in the heart of Silicon Valley?
That's a great question. It's being in the Bay Area is both a blessing and a curse. Yeah. On the positive side, there are a lot of investors here that are focused on this space. There's lots of big idea people, and whether you ride the bus or you go to Starbucks, there's always somebody talking about startups or technology, et cetera. And there's certainly some of the best talented product and engineering people here in the area. So, finding talent is they're around and they're interested in what we're doing.
Sure.
But that's also a negative because we're competing with talent from, all the high profile companies that you know about, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Google, Uber, Yelp, et cetera. We're competing with all of them for, salaries, for office space, for living costs, which are all kind of skyrocketing. So it's a blessing and a curse. I think it's a net positive because, we're able to find so many great, passionate, talented people, but it's definitely a challenge to be here.
I think people are maybe when they are looking for employment, they always go to the big companies first, and then if they can't get a job, then they go to the smaller companies. Do you find that to be true, or
is every single person a startup at this point?
That is a great question. And, there's been a lot written about millennials and, new young people coming out of college into the workplace and what you're looking for. I think that many people coming right out of school, they want the perks of working for a big established company where, you've got beautiful facilities and a great gym and a wonderful vacation package and maybe 3 meals a day and strong management team and high pay, et cetera. But they may also want the freedom and perhaps some of the open-ended, ness of a work environment in a startup, and also maybe the upside of a startup environment. So I think it really comes down to your work style, your lifestyle, and your risk profile. And so I think it's impossible to make a blanket statement, but those are really the things that people think about. But ultimately, you're always competing with every other company, big and small.
Okay, well, makes sense. But obviously, it looks to me like you have some talented people working for you. I mean, the product looks extremely interesting, to say the least. So,
oh God, yeah. We've been really fortunate in that we've got about 30 people now, and we have sort of a very interesting profile in that our team is largely 2/3 of the people work on product, which means they're directly either coding, doing art, doing user interface, doing QA, doing content development. And then the other third are either project management or producers of content or, working on the business side. And we have a very interesting culture here in that, half of the people in the company are women, a fourth of the people that work here are parents, a third of the engineering team are actually women. And, that has happened completely organically because we've tended to attract people that were passionate about kids, passionate about education, or making great entertainment product. And so we've been able to recruit both talent right out of some of the big engineering programs like Carnegie Mellon or MIT, as well as recruit talent from some of the most well-known game or entertainment companies like Lucasfilm or Zynga or Electronic Arts, for example.
Okay. Now, you as a CEO, do you hand select these people, or do you have like a human resource person who kind of handles it for you?
No, we do not have a human resource person. We have a recruiter,
okay,
who is responsible for identifying potential new hires and that sort of thing. But we have a team-based interview structure here, and I interview every person that comes through the door here at some point in the interview process, because we're really still a small enough company that every hire is super, super important.
So I'm trying to picture what's on the employment form, or I guess one of the questions is, do you like kids? That would have to...
well, actually, there is no employment form.
Okay.
There is no employment form, but the way we look at it is we want people that want to make great products, and we want people that want to make commercially successful products that delight and engage. And a passion for kids, or a passion for gaming, or a passion for education is somewhat secondary. It's really more about, hey, we want them to really want to make high quality, successful products, but we just tend to attract people that are passionate about, kids, education, entertainment. Sure. And so that's kind of happened organically, but we don't specifically screen for that.
All right. Now let me ask you this. the word is not is edutainment, which is basically educational and entertainment kind of into one word, and it's been around for a while, and so
Because grown-ups have gotten so sinister that you have to trick kids into learning instead of sitting them down.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, well, first of all, I want to ask you if the kids' edutainment space is growing, which it looks like it is, and then I also want to follow up and ask you, is it necessary? I mean, Ben kind of hinted at it. I mean, with all the video games and things that are out today with the Xbox.
By the way, that was completely sarcasm. I'm all for getting more video games to kids. That is my life mission. So I'm all for this.
You find yourself competing with the entertainment portion with all these devices out there now, and do you find yourself competing with that? So let's first start off. Let's start with the first: is the kids' edutainment space growing?
Yeah, so I think the way to think about it is that the greater category of mobile gaming is, around $40 billion globally by, next year-ish. And around $7 billion of that is directly attributed to kids. But then you also have the greater mobile category that includes specifically learning content, ebooks, video content, etc. So it's a really big category, and it's growing significantly.
Yeah.
And, every year it's growing, and it's growing on a global basis. And, part of that is because, at least in the U.S., kids play about 1.5 hours per day. And the number one use for the tablet, according to parents, is actually playing games, and in particular playing learning games, which is probably a little bit false, but that's what they tell us. With video is number two. And so, big category, and a big growing category, and a category that, is really exciting and engaging for kids. I think the second part of your question around how do we get kids to play educational or learning entertainment games. And, back in the day, you probably remember PC CD-ROM games like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego and Oregon Trail and some of that stuff.
Sure. They were...
And, so fantastic, great games, very, robust, immersive educational experiences. But it was like organic Cheetos or Flintstones vitamins that kids didn't necessarily know they were learning. They just loved the play pattern. Well, nothing has changed from then. That's the way the world works now in the world of gaming. You have to match the right play pattern to keep kids engaged and games that are sticky with the type of curriculum that you're trying to deliver. And so it's one part art and one part science to make games that kids really love, but they're also learning. And if kids find that they love the play pattern, they tend to play them, and then you get the added benefit that they're actually learning.
So we're still tricking them into learning something.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily tricking them. I think about it more like we're engaging them. We're challenging them, we're engaging them. I mean, the same thing could be said of playing Scrabble, right?
Yeah. Sure.
You're playing a great game that requires word knowledge and critical thinking, but it's really just fun. But at the end, if the kid has learned 10 or 20 new words and learned to think spatially, that's awesome, right? But
Yes,
they don't know they're learning. They just think they're playing.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. I mean, and then there's something close to the border. I mean, does Monopoly teach anything? I guess it does. It does. There's.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
You're hitting all my hot buttons because I actually used to work at Hasbro many moons ago, and we spent a lot of time thinking about what were the benefits of playing board games. And Monopoly teaches strategy, Monopoly teaches you arithmetic. Monopoly teaches you collaboration and social skills. And certainly
Real
there's
estate.
quite a lot of math in there, and it teaches you, how to be ruthless if
I was just thinking that.
Right? But it actually teaches you quite a lot. And there's been many examples of board games being used in school to teach a variety of different skills.
That's very true. And even the straight ones like chess, and that's certainly teaching you something too. Even though it is a game, certainly is exercising the brain muscle to learn that.
Exactly.
Exactly. Would we call chess edutainment or just entertainment? Would we call? I mean, where do you draw the line? Where it's just, you know what I'm saying?
I don't actually draw the line.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I personally do not draw the line because I think many games can teach you something. And, as you think about, Common Core curriculum and, STEM teaching, science, technology,
Sure.
And math in particular, and then you put the A in there for arts, so STEAM.
Yeah.
Most of the games that you see in that area, and in fact, many of the games that exist, like Minecraft, for example,
sure.
there's quite a lot of scientific concepts there and critical thinking there, and they may be strictly entertainment oriented, but there's quite a lot to learn there.
Sure.
If you think about games like SimCity or
Nancy,
Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Nancy, I got to interrupt you here. We're at the bottom of the hour. It's the music means, and then we'll continue on with this. All right. We're talking to Nancy McIntyre, the CEO of Fingerprint. You're listening to the Computer America Show. News, tips, and review coming up as well. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons: accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons: accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. I want to tell you something about VTech. They always have the coolest telephone systems around. VTech's new 4-line small business phone system, the perfect solution for small business owners that need to install a phone system that has qualities and features that have previously only been available for companies with bigger budgets. First of all, this new system is the most affordable and easy to install 4-line phone system on the market. Its components allow the system to grow alongside a business, up to 10 extensions that can be located anywhere. The 4-line small business phone system also comes equipped with a number of advanced features such as auto attendant for each line, a digital answering machine with mailboxes for every extension, full duplex speakerphones, music on hold, power failure operation, 6-way conferencing, and much, much more. The VTech 4-line small business phone system is available in stores and online at Office Depot, Office Max, and Staples, as well as online at www.vtechphones.com. Tell them I sent you.
Citizens of the third planet.
Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Rack Solutions mat and strap. We've talked about adapting small desktop-style gear, home control gear, small things, to rack mounting by tying things to the Rack Solutions vented shelf that we've covered. One of their more useful rack accessories for helping that happen is their Velcro One-Wrap cable strap. A single length, 180 inches long, on a roll with hooks on one side and loops on the other. So slipping it through vent slots on either side of any kind of tiny little box can snug that down to a shelf. It's also good, of course, for bundling cables together and tying them to inside struts, much as we do when building a PC. They also sent their thin anti-slip mat, a nice way to keep cabling from shoving gear around. Bottom line, Rack Solutions anti-slip mat and Velcro one-wrap cable strap help make rack builds sweeter by being neater. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Thank you, Marty Winston, for that News Tip Bulletin review. Sadly, though, very sadly, that will be the last time you'll be hearing that particular News Tip Bulletin review. Yeah, very, very sad. I know. I know we've only heard it 5 times, but it seems like not enough for some reason. No, but next week we'll have a new one first hour, you and a new one second hour. He is able to get those to us so quickly and on so many different topics that we love them so much. But you know, so shall be. Here in the first hour, though, we are talking to Fingerprint. And right now we're just kind of going over really the generals of what they're trying to aim for. Nancy McIntyre here, who is the CEO of Fingerprint, and we're just getting into the edutainment field and why it's a growing thing. And I think almost everyone, especially those that have a kid, and even those who don't, they can very, very well see the positives of having not just entertaining your kids, because that's actually pretty easy to do. Give them game, make it a racing game, make it a something game, and at the end of the day, they're going to be quiet and they're going to have fun. But that's not what everyone. But that's not what you should be doing. You should be at least fostering some sort of education in there. Right. So yeah, and and I guess that's why that segment is so important. And I've obviously, I'm probably closer to the age of being a kid than having a kid, but and when I was growing up, we didn't really have the video games, and education were anti each other. Like it was one or the other, and shame on you if you chose the wrong one, which was mostly video games. Do you see this and like I can see this growing among parents and among kids' free time, but do you see this growing in schools or other traditional education environments?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're seeing schools embrace technology, at a rapid pace. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of effort around, digitally connecting schools all around the United States, and you see, big efforts around the placement of Chromebooks and the placement of tablets into the classroom, and wide variety of different companies that are supplying software into the classroom, and as well as significant initiatives from both Apple and Google with their education stores. So in the same way that tablets have really changed playing in the consumer market, you're also beginning to see that happen in the school market as well. And I think educators and parents recognize that interactive experiences, both activities, creativity products, and games, all can promote learning in a very engaging way. And kids can learn quite a bit, in some cases more, from an interactive experience. So I think this is really here to stay. And by all accounts, a study I just saw recently said that 97% of parents in the United States were willing to have their kids use their phone or tablet. So I think the concern about screen time and the concern about playing games is not as great as you might think.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Nancy. For your company, what kind of investors and partners do you have in the company at this point?
Yeah, so our largest investors are Chorus Entertainment, who is the largest media company in Canada, and DreamWorks Animation, the entertainment company, and then Reed Elsevier was a UK-based educational publisher. Those are our three largest investors. So, as opposed to venture capital investment, we've taken largely strategic investors that have either content or distribution. And, we've been very lucky to have them as investors because they're in the business of education and entertaining kids. So, we're very aligned strategically, and that's amazingly helpful.
Well, but I gotta ask you this. I mean, how did you convince, these big brands like, Sylvan and Samsung to work with I'm sorry, but a startup company in the tech space? How did you get them to do it?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I'm taking note.
When we signed our first deal with Samsung in Southeast Asia, I think we had 8 people in the company. So, so yeah, that's a great question. I think the reality is that we play much bigger than we look. I like to say, 8 people, 20 mirrors kind of thing. Because I was an experienced executive from the space, and I'd surrounded myself with a CTO and a chief creative officer and a head of business who also were very talented, experienced people that had worked in the corporate environment and delivered great commercially successful products. That they trusted our talent, they trusted our tech platform, and ultimately they put our trust in us that we were going to be able to execute. And face it, even the biggest companies like to give the little guy a chance every once in a while. And so we've been very fortunate to work with business partners who believed in what we were trying to do.
All right, can we talk a little bit about the actual products or the games, or how do they do? What titles do you offer? Can you give us some examples of what you do at Fingerprint? What you're producing, some products.
Yeah. So the best way to think about what we do is we sort of build networks of mobile apps that are then sold through a partner. So let's think about Sylvan Learning, for example. So we built a service for them called Sylvan Play, which is a mobile network of roughly 60 educational apps that are sold under the Sylvan Play brand and are made available to Sylvan's tutoring customers. And so what we physically built was we built a range of apps that were mapped to Common Core standards, so focused on math and language in particular. We also recruited third-party developers who had created award-winning games and book apps and convinced them to put their product on the network. And we built actually the whole interface in the way that customers can find the curated selection of apps, can download and play the curated selection of apps, and then a way to actually track all the usage and all the learning that the child is actually getting from the app, and then report that out to the parent. So to think about what we do is we build the platform itself and all the connective tissue that curates the apps, does the reporting to both the child and the parent, and then we also make and then sometimes recruit the app content to actually put it on the network. So, we've built a range of educational content for language learning. We have an app, for example, called Kids Learn Mandarin. We've built an app called Scribble Press, which is a bookmaking app. And then we own a range of, other type apps across a wide range of different subjects: English, math, language learning, etc. And then, we do, other platforms for other big partners, and our largest partner really is Samsung. And in Southeast Asia, we built a learning network for Samsung targeted at 3 to 8 year olds, which includes about 700 high quality learning apps that are all sold on a subscription basis to direct to consumer.
Now,
So, I'm sorry, real quick, but 30 people, all these different, all these different companies, all these different platforms. It sounds like you're just you kind of greenlight or you bring in developers and say, okay, do you have a game? Bring it in and we'll take a look at it, and then you greenlight the product, and then you of course license that out to Sylvan, Samsung, DreamWorks, what have you. But you don't actually have somewhere in the bowels of your company a small group of people that builds these apps. Like you connect developers to these partners.
We build apps as well, so our primary business is the building of the technology platform to make the network. We also build a range of apps as well. So we'll for our partners, but our primary business is really the platform. So for example, this year we launched Backyard Baseball and Backyard Basketball, which were two apps made with the NFL and NBA around kids and sports. We launched an English language learning app that we built with Turner Broadcasting called Tuniversity.
Clever. Clever.
Those are just three examples of some of the apps that we built. But so in any particular year, we might build a dozen individual apps, and then also work with our enterprise clients to build out their individual platform. So I mean, an easy way to think about us is we're sort of like Netflix for learning, from the perspective that Netflix has a platform. Netflix owns some content like House of Cards, and then Netflix licenses some content, and then they distribute all that content out to their partners, and that's exactly what we do.
Because writing an app is not something simple to do. I mean,
no,
I mean, even with the size of the team that you have, they're not all coders. They're not all sitting around in a room and saying, okay, we need to come up with an app that has something to do with baseball, or we have to come up with an app that just teaches math. And the app that you come up for that teaches math, for example, and you do that for Sylvan, you can't resell that to Samsung, right? And put a different and put their name on it, or do you? Is it the same game but it just has a different label on it?
Well, I mean, another way of thinking about it is some of our games are distributed across our networks because they might be sold in different markets, for example.
All right.
And so what we have is a variety of different kinds of game engines. So we might find a way to teach geometry that works incredibly well, and we may build multiple versions of games based on one particular game engine. But we'll build a game and then we'll distribute it across as many partners as we possibly can.
Okay, so let me ask you this: is there some sort of magic formula that you've discovered as far as what kind of kids edutainment apps keep the attention of kids, or is it different for different age groups, or is everything, or there is no magic formula?
There is no magic formula to say that every kid, likes every kind of game, in the same way that there's no magic formula around some kids like mysteries and some kids like, adventure books, etc. But there are tried and true play patterns. There's racing games, there are matching games, there's puzzle games, there's games that require creativity or problem solving, etc. So there are some very tried and true game mechanics that work, and there's also sort of quite a lot of history around knowing what kind of game mechanics work with certain types of curriculum, and so we get pretty good at understanding what type of game should we be delivering that's going to get the kid really excited, and we focus on that. And so, if you tend to look in the App Store, even for adults, you'll notice there might be, a dozen games that basically have exactly the same play pattern as, say, Candy Crush, right? That are, you're just matching jewels.
Right.
But the themes are all slightly different. The monetization is slightly different. The mechanics are a little different. But they're all basically the same games. And the same thing applies in the educational space, that there are a group of game mechanics that work very well and are sticky. And you tend to duplicate and then iterate on those kinds of play patterns to get to games that kids are going to like.
All right. Now, you mentioned monetization. I mean, you can't really advertise with these apps, right? I mean, so how do you monetize these things?
Yeah, so we sell our content in 3 ways. We sell it, in some cases, the apps are freemium, which means there's a free experience, and then you can buy additional content packs through in-app purchase. Second, we sell them as paid games, so it's just a one-time purchase and everything is unlocked. And third, we'll sell the apps as part of a subscription program. And so, we have not done any advertising at all up to this point. Okay.
And that model is working for you?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be working well. And, I think that the market is evolving, and the kids category in general is a category that tends to monetize, on a per user basis slightly better than some other categories, because parents don't necessarily want advertising and they don't necessarily want in-app purchases, so they tend to buy paid games maybe more than the general public. But it's still work to get people to convert from a free user to a paid user, no matter what kind of product you have.
I'm curious here. I mean, obviously things are changing so fast. I mean, do families worry about their kids, having too much screen time, or are we living in a different world now where parents are saying, okay, well,
it seems like there's another story every other day that I wouldn't say completely destroys what we thought we knew about kids and technology, but there's a lot of alarmists out there who want to say that kids aren't learning how to walk straight because they look at phones too much or something like that. It's kids and screen time seems to be a very hot button issue.
Well, I think the reality is that before the iPad came out, way back when, before tablets became mainstream, the average kid under 12 spent about 3.5 hours watching TV per day. By 2014, that number had decreased to 3.1 hours per day, and smartphone or tablet usage went from 0 to about 1.3 hours per day. So you saw a decline in TV watching and then an increase of use around smartphones and tablets. So which you would expect, because more kids watching more videos than before. So I think that there's absolutely sort of concern over screen time, but parents seem interested in promoting screen time that helps their kids learn, and they really look at tablets as sort of one of the best tools to help kids learn. So what you tend to see is limitations on total screen time, but more willingness to have kids use screens for learning products than other things like watching videos or just playing games.
Yeah.
I would add to that it is absolutely a concern to think about babies and toddlers and their use of tablets, and there is quite a lot of discussion around putting the youngest kids in front of screens, whether they be TV or tablets, and I think that's something that we need to know more about.
Right. I mean, if you watch, I mean, it can be extremely attention absorbing, so much so that you don't even. And I don't think books were ever really like that. You know, not to the
What?
not the distraction. I mean, the attention you see with video screens. Of course, it all depends what's on the screen. You know, but
Right.
are we?
Well, I
Are
think
we? Are we losing something here,
Sorry.
Nat? Are we losing something here? You know, we're taking kids away from books and the traditional methods of learning in order to find and to make. I mean, learning can be fun, but should learning? Oh, I mean,
and I want to throw in my completely irrelevant comment here is that I grew up reading books. I read books like a fiend. I read well over 1,000 books, before I had before I had a tablet or a smartphone or anything like that. And it's
chess. And you were great at chess.
And I was great at chess. And all these things. I see lots of kids nowadays that are still reading physical books. They're still playing board games. They're still doing all those kinds of things. It's just now in the space where that used to be filled with television and music and downtime are now being filled with a tablet, a smartphone, or something like that. Like the time was always there. It's just being divided up differently.
Is that a good
Bingo.
thing? That's a good thing.
Yeah, that's totally true. I mean, it's just like the statistics I showed you about, the decline in television viewing is almost directly, directly tied to the increase in use of phones and tablets and smartphones. I mean, kids' entertainment of choice has shifted quite a lot. They're no longer watching TV when it appears on TV. They're streaming TV. They're time shifting. The sales of young adult fiction, books targeted at 12 and up is actually one of the fastest growing categories of physical literature. And actually, some of the statistics say that kids are reading more than ever before, but they may not be reading exclusively books. They're reading blogs, they're reading Reddit, they're reading Facebook, etc. But they're reading, perhaps more than they were many years ago, because there's so many opportunities for reading content. I mean, I think the bigger question, that was sort of embedded in what you said is, is screen time and is, the use of devices, is it impacting social behavior, and is it impacting communication? And, the answer has to be yes. And so ultimately it's up to parents and teachers and caregivers to keep their kids, focused on being present in the real world, while still giving them opportunities to interact with, digital content.
Well, listen, Nancy, we're almost out of time here, but this has obviously been very enlightening. And again, you can see more about this at the Fingerprint website when you go there, of course, at computeramerica.com. You can go to the Fingerprint Play. It's fingerprintplay, PLAY.com, or just go to computeramerica.com, and you can see more about this as well. Nancy, I want to thank you for being here on the show with us tonight. Very enlightening. And again, Ben, I think the guest is calling us.
Oh, so. Perfect. All right. Yeah, I'll try reconnecting real quick.
Thank you both very much. Good luck with your show.
And thank you very much for being with us here, Nancy. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye. All right. Ben, why don't you call him? And
I will be doing that shortly.
Anyhow, we are
we're all over the road.
Yeah, all over the road. Now, coming up in the next hour, we're going to have a social media winner of the week. That's all coming up. And it looks like we're going to have the Ghost on Stove here with us momentarily. But if you have any questions or comments, again, 347-884-8881. 347-884-8881, or you can go to computeramerica.com and interact with us there. We have two different ways, two different things that you can do. You can go to the show lounge, and if you hover over show lounge, you'll see submit a question, and you can click that, or just click the submit a question. It's on the upper right portion of any Computer America page, and you can see that for yourself as well. Also, we have our social media winner coming up. Now, to do that, all you have to do is go to the social media contest. And you'll see all the different ways that you can enter. We have you can go to our Facebook page and like it. That's one entry per week, and you only have to do it one time. You go to the YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube feed. That's the second one. And then you'll have 2 entries every single week. You don't have to repeat it. You just have to do it once, and then you have each social media location that you go to and like or subscribe to. It allows you to you can get another entry. All right, we've got more of Computer America coming straight at you. Looks like we've got GoSun. We'll be with him momentarily. You're listening to the Computer America show. Ben and I will be back with more information on this amazing solar powered cooker. We'll be right back. This is Computer America. Oh, a show reminder winner of a social media winner of the week too.
This is about a cool new way to be the first to hear about new, completely unannounced products or services. The Monday through Friday Newer Than News nationwide Bell Ringers Radio Hour starts August 31st. 4 times on each show, a team of 3 pros, well, 2 pros and me, take the time to tell you all about some new something. That happens over so many stations that more than 50 million people will be able to tune it in. And that same day, releases about that debut go out on 3 major news wires to reach traditional, online, and social media, plus full coverage on Slash Gear and some other goodies. Here's what we'd like to ask of you now. At the company you work for or the companies you work with, chances are that the top marketing people in top brass don't yet know about Bell Ringers. Please, just tell them to check out bellringersmedia.com. That's BELLRINGERSMEDIA.com. But hurry, September segments are booking now.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And in the first hour, we had Fingerprint joining us.
Fingerprint Play, lots of great games. And I guess, if you would want to check out their games,
Yes. Oh, we lost you. If you want to check out the games, I guess was talking. You can go to the website at fingerprintplay.com and you can check it out for yourself. In the meantime, for some reason we lost Ben. That's unusual. That has not happened before. So I'm sure he'll be back here. No, there he is. Okay. What happened? Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay. So you were saying?
No, I was just saying that they have such a large network that if you are interested in this and you want to check them out, odds are you're probably already using one of their programs or one of the programs, because they're with Sylvan, they're with Backyard Baseball or Backyard Sports, they're with Sony, Samsung, DreamWorks. They are everywhere. So odds are you're probably already using them.
Okay. All right. Good to know. All right. Again, if you have a comment or a question for anything we're talking about tonight, we'd love to hear from you. 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. Or if you're radio shy, you can go to computeramerica.com and submit a question there on our new submit a question page. You can see in the upper right-hand corner of any screen. You just click at that and submit your question. Also, later on in the program, we're going to have our social media winner of the week. We've got another news tips bulletin review from Marty Winston. The last time you'll hear this particular one because it's Friday. And anything else you want to talk about before we bring our next guest on the air, Ben?
Anything else? No, I think we've already said everything in the first hour. Excited to get into this one because if I've learned one thing from the sous vide cooker, I'm sorry, the sous vide supreme, which of course cooks using sous vide, high-tech gadgetry and kitchen mix very, very well.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So I'm excited for the next guest.
Well, this is high tech and low tech, but high tech. I think it's more high tech than low tech. But it allows you to cook with the sun, and that's what when we talk. It's called the GoSun Solar Stove. According to them, it's a miracle of science. You know, it's like sitting there with a magnifying glass and cooking ants when you were a kid. You know, but anyway,
that's the comparison you want to draw?
No, not at all. But it uses a similar technology, a focusing of sunlight to create heat. And that's basically, this is a miracle of science. It uses an evacuated glass tube in the GoSun cooking technology. And evidently, this is a near perfect insulator, allowing one to solar cook in even the most challenging conditions. In other words, you don't even need direct sunlight for this. I know without direct sunlight, you couldn't cook any ants.
Very true.
Yeah, by effectively capturing light from a broad range of angles, the GoSun does not require frequent readjustment, making it the lowest maintenance, fuel-free cooking device yet. All right. Now, here with us is Patrick Sherwin. He is the founder and inventor of the GoSun. Patrick, welcome into Computer America. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great tonight, guys. Thanks so much for having me, Craig and Ben.
Yeah, we almost didn't get you. You were nowhere to be found, but we're we're so glad to find you. And so tell us a little bit about the GoSun. And I mean, how did you come up with this? When you were a kid, you used a magnifying glass to fry ants as well, or how'd you come with this?
Indeed. Oh yes, it is quite an intrepid device, and I myself have approached life in a very unique, maybe backdoor way. I've been working in the green energy field for a long time. Had an interest in solar and fuel-free related technologies since I've learned about the environmental difficulties that we've created. And I've been working with solar energy for 15 years full time in my adult life. And the technology of the GoSun came about based on borrowing a pre-existing solar hot water heating technology. I just decommissioned a hot water heater that was on a rooftop, and I tried to repurpose it for another use and managed to cook some hot dogs.
Ah.
And that was my sort of moment of truth, my aha. That was about 11 years ago now, and I've been working on the idea. I worked on it as a hobby for about 8 years, and then really jumped into things about 3 years ago.
And you've been eating hot dogs ever since.
Yeah, I like to think
Exactly.
we've diversified our appetite a little beyond that, but you're right. For the first 6 years, it was either a hot dog or a not dog.
So tell us about the GoSun cooker, the solar stove, I guess you call it. The GoSun solar stove. Now, there are other solar cookers out there. What makes the GoSun better than the other solar cookers that are out there?
Well, you guys did a fantastic job in the introduction of our technology. It really does come down to the vacuum, which is placed in between two layers of tough Pyrex glass. That enables the device to be so well insulated from the outside air condition. You can cook on really cold days, windy days, and in light that's not a perfect direct sun. So we're able to cook meals very quickly, very safely. And then our technology has the ability to go with you wherever it may be, on a boat, on a road trip, and you can make a meal sort of anywhere you've got hungry people and a little bit of sunlight any day of the year.
Really? In other words, so you don't need direct sun, then, is what you're saying? You can still cook with this without direct sunlight?
Right, right. It runs on a wide spectrum of radiation coming from the sun, and largely the visible spectrum. So if you want to put your sunglasses on, well, that's a good day to solar cook on the Go Sun. But unlike many other solar cooking technologies that utilize more of a concentration or a focus, they look often like a satellite dish where a beam of light is being projected onto a frying pan or something.
Yeah.
Those will require a lot more direct radiation. The Go Sun has a very low concentration ratio. We do have reflectors that triple the amount of light hitting the absorber, but we can really run on a wide spectrum and very reliably cook a meal. So
now, would you say that the heart of the stove, the Go Sun solar stove, is this glass evacuated glass tube?
It is indeed.
What is evacuated glass tube? I've had to ask. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's another way of saying a vacuum. So it's very similar to a thermos. Like a thermos will have two cylindrical shapes of stainless steel with a vacuum between those two. In this case, it's two cylinders of Pyrex glass with a vacuum between them.
Okay. So the tube is somehow insulated. It's like is it sort of like a thermos? What they use, a thermos device?
Yeah, that's exactly right. The outside layer of glass is clear to allow sunlight to pass through and through the vacuum, and then the inner layer of glass is colored to absorb sunlight and convert it into heat. So then that heat is trapped on the inside where the food goes inside the tube. And then the vacuum keeps the heat from transferring out into the air.
Well, I was just watching a video real quick, and I saw, what might either be a testament to your product or the world's bravest 4-year-old, and he looked like he was, touching the glass chamber with his bare hand, like while it was cooking.
Yeah, and we have about 400 degrees there at that time. And you can touch it. It'll be the same temperature as the outside air because that vacuum does such a good job at insulating.
That's amazing. I mean, because to have all that heat, yet you can touch the actual glass tube and you don't burn yourself.
Cooking's always been a dangerous thing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. It's bewildering, and the power that's available in the sun has never been captured to this degree with this type of an efficiency on a consumer level. We're receiving efficiencies that approach 80%, and that's about 4 times the efficiency of solar photovoltaics. And so, you have like a 200-watt solar panel in this tiny 1 by 2 foot device that goes on Sport.
Well, now, I'm a little confused because you're cooking with sun, yet you talk about a thermal battery. Now, what is the battery doing?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked about that. We're working to create a phase-changing material that will absorb sunlight, or essentially absorb the heat of the sun during the day when the sun is out, so that we have heat available at night when we want to cook dinner. Half the world wants to eat food at night, and we simply can't do that with the current solar cooking technology. And so we've come up with this thermal battery as a way to store the heat inside the tube to be available for evening hours.
So you can still cook as long as the sun is out. You don't need the battery, but am I correct? You're cooking with the sun.
Correct.
But then in the evening, if you want to still cook with it, you can, because you've stored this energy. How much energy does the battery absorb, and how much can you cook with it, or how long?
Great questions. Roughly, we look at everything as watts. It doesn't matter if we're talking AC or DC or even thermal energy. Instead of using misleading BTUs or joules or things that are really difficult to convert, we just say watts is watts. And we're able to store somewhere around 150 watt hours in the thermal battery in our test conditions. And that's enough. And it may mean nothing to you, but it may also, be a way to realize, well, if I have a 150 watt device, I can run that for 1 hour. this is not electrical energy, this is thermal energy, but again, we're just converting and using watts as the function for power. And so that's enough energy inside the evacuated tube to cook about 4 pounds of chicken. So we made it to be able to cook a meal large enough for about a family of 8.
Wow. Now, now I understand what's heating it with the sun, but in the evening and you're using the battery, you have a heating element there. What heats up to cook the food at night? What is the battery? How does that getting transferred? That heat, the heat.
Great. So what we're using is what's considered a phase change or latent energy when a solid is melted and turns into a liquid. In that process of melting, even something such as ice. So when ice melts and turns to water, there's a lot of heat that's actually being absorbed. So it may not always be apparent, but that's what helps. That absorbing of heat is what helps keep your drink cold.
Okay.
And so we're taking advantage of that process. And then in this case, we will then place the food on top of this molten salt or wax, this phase change material. Okay, not in direct contact, obviously, but then the food will absorb that heat as the wax or salt then recrystallizes back into its solid form.
Wow.
We have a video on our website
we're
at
watching
ghostonstove.com.
Yeah, we're watching it right now, and people are watching the live video stream are actually seeing your website right now. It's up there, and we're actually running the video so people can see it and see how this actually works. So let me ask you this: this is obviously the tube is a great idea, but the tube is obviously a certain constraint in size. What can you fit in this tube to cook? What can you cook in there?
With enough force, anything.
Yeah, that's right. It's just, I always tell people, well, what can you cut up? Just about anything. You just need a sharp knife. The new one that we developed, the Go Sun Grill, has a diameter of around 5 inches, and you're able to fit 2 rotisserie style chickens, for example.
Wow.
You can do 2 large loaves of bread. It's pretty standard size bread. Yes, everything is typically a cylindrical form to some degree, but I haven't seen too many folks complain when it hits the plate.
No.
Including things like burger patties and steaks and some of the more conventional foods that you might find in a grill. But now you can also do things such as casseroles and root vegetables and stir fries and things that are very unconventional for cooking outdoors.
It looks like you can even make soup in it. You have a way of holding soup, a liquid, from what I'm watching on the video. So you can make soup in it. So that there's it looks like there's a container that holds soup. So I guess my next question: if this is a sealed tube, where's all the smoke go? If I'm making steaks and all these, it's going to start smoking and everything. Does the smoke stay inside the cylinder, or is there a place for the smoke to escape?
We allow the steam to escape. You won't see any smoke because there's no combustion. Food actually tends to cook in a more of a steam or a stew frying environment.
Okay.
So it isn't. The one thing that we don't do very well is braise foods or smoke foods.
Okay.
So those are the 2 cooking styles that are going to be rare to find at the Go Sun. So we can cook meats extremely well, but you'll find them to be far more moist and in their own juices compared to frying them over fire.
So I can make hamburgers. You're saying, but in other words, I'm not going to have the char on the outside, but the hamburgers will be thoroughly cooked.
Indeed. Yeah, you have the hamburger without the carcinogenic black stuff that we all tend to love.
Well, yeah, you could bring one of those little blowtorch, the braziers, and just char the outside of the meat before you put it on the bun. I would think that would work, wouldn't it?
There you go. If you need that black stuff, you can get it other ways.
Hey, I like charcoal. So now, is this is now available as it is? I mean, can people buy this yet, or is it an actual product?
Oh, indeed. We have thousands of Go Sun Sports in circulation around the world. The Go Sun Sport is the first version that we launched 2 years ago. It's capable of cooking a meal for 2 or 3 people at a time. The Go Sun Grill is under production at the moment and will be available by the end of the year or early 2016.
Now, what are we looking at in the video? That's not the grill. That's the Go Sun cooker.
That's the Go Sun Grill.
To be honest.
Oh, okay.
The Go Sun Grill is the larger one, and there's a smaller one that's also apparent on our website called the Go Sun Sport.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously this doesn't have to be plugged into a wall or anything. Who are you finding are buying these? Are these campers? Are these healthy people? I was about to say something else, but no, it's good to be healthy. Healthy people. Like, who are you seeing is really liking this?
Yeah, we're finding a lot of folks that are anxious to spend some time outdoors, and anybody that tends to be green. Obviously, the solar cooking has really never gone anywhere beyond green, but we're certainly trying to take it to people that are interested in innovation, people that are loving the outdoor recreations, like I said earlier, boats, RVs, sailors. And, we're trying to make a device that really is easy to use and friendly. So we do tend to market a lot to women. We want to see women cooking outdoors since it's pretty well owned by men and owned by the world of, flesh. So let's see if we can make something a little bit different, a little bit healthier outdoors. Let's get everybody outside enjoying. Let's take a picnic, that type of thing. Now,
the Go Sun Grill, is that the one that looks like it's it's enclosed, it looks like a large toaster, and then the flaps open up? Is that the Go Sun Grill, or is that the okay. Yeah, that is the grill. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that'll
the
be
grill. The grill was largely designed through an effort that was funded by the United Nations Foundation, where we did a pilot study down in Guatemala to try to apply our technology in the global south, more poverty-stricken nations, and to see where we can break a cycle of poverty around cooking with wood and charcoal. And we've had great results, and we're trying to release the grill here, sort of make a little bit of money so that we can then grow our efforts in a social enterprise where these devices are really, really needed.
Yeah, I know there are a lot of projects where they're bringing, light sources to people who don't have electricity or power infrastructure. The lamps, they're LEDs, and they light up their tents or where they live, and now this is obviously another terrific step in that direction, bringing the ability to cook without making huge fires this is very, very cool technology. So this certainly will be able to change the lives, I would think, of people like that who are in those types of areas. And also, I think here in the U.S., I think it's going to be great too. I mean, I can see at a football game, out in the parking lot, having one of the trailer or things, and what do they call them, the tailgate parties, that they have, and you want to cook some hot dogs and everything. This would be great, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. And you only need 20 or 30 minutes with the Go Sun Sport to make a meal for 2 or 3 people. And I'm not just saying that as a slick snake oil salesman here.
No.
I mean, this thing literally makes a meal in 20 minutes. It's that fast and easy.
I mean, right.
And that doesn't have to be Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, it could be, I'm from Ohio. We don't get a ton of sun here, and it cranks away all day, every day.
Well, it's certainly better than, wrapping your hot dogs in tin foil and putting them on the radiator in the car, because you don't have a heat source, So
someone who's never cooked with this thing before, how does one regulate the temperature? Because or is it just kind of by sight and by smell you figure it out that way? Is there a temperature gauge on it?
Yes, the Go Sun Grill will have a temperature gauge. The Go Sun Sport, the smaller one, does not. We were really concerned, and we had a lot of questions about that ourselves. When we first released the Sport, we ended up having all these discoveries, which essentially pointed to the best original cranial nerve in the human being is the olfactory, which heads right to your nose. Yeah. Well, it turns out cooked food smells different. When food is ready to eat, it. And that is the best sensor available. We're doing a lot more R&D on the temperature sensor for the grill, but the chamber is so small and so full of moisture that it doesn't read a temperature that is similar to your convection or your conduction oven at home. It'll read temperature even lower,
right,
which is somewhat misleading because we want to see 350 or 400.
right.
Even though we're cooking with tons of power, it may not read that because you're in a bath of steam at 247 degrees or something.
Or you'd have to put some sort of a conversion on that gauge, so so this is equal to 350 degrees. The ones say 250, but it's actually 350.
It's about 350, more or less, give or so.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like to be fairly technical, but I'll be honest, I don't have the exact for details that when I run a recipe, I read it and then I make it up myself, and I just wait, I taste it, I check my food, and then I'm ready to eat. We're trying to deal with folks that are highly specific and trying to come up with a way to tell them how to run a recipe, but I think it's going to be all about a range.
Well, let me ask you this. How fast does it heat up? I mean, obviously with the oven, you have to preheat it to 350. I mean, when you want to cook a hot dog, does this require any kind of preheating, or you just put the hot dog in and open the and just expose it to the sun? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, you really don't need to preheat it. It'll get up to its full temperature in 15 minutes or so. So really, we don't even want folks to preheat it. They just show up, open up the reflectors, throw the food inside, and it'll be ready quickly. And typically when you're solar cooking, you're just trying to get all the power that you can from the sun, because it's not the most intense, certainly not like a fire right below your meat.
Sure.
So typically with solar ovens, having too much temperature is never that big of an issue.
Okay.
You're ready to eat, you throw the food in there, you're standing around it, you're checking it. Well, this is one of those solar ovens where you're going to be guaranteed there's going to be food soon.
Patrick,
and that's a very new and rare thing.
Patrick, and this is a subjective question, but how does it taste? I mean, if I put a hot dog in there on a grill and I put a hot dog in the Ghost and Soul, I mean, how does it compare with taste? For taste,
it's phenomenal. You'll have heat throughout the entire range, of 360 degrees into that meat, and you'll have moisture where it's meant to be, and it'll taste just like whatever the chef or the manufacturer prepared for you. It won't have any of the random charcoal lighter fluid or smoke from the papers or the dirty coals. No disrespect, I also love grilling out too, but this is a way easier, cleaner way to go.
Well, and that was the other question. It's clean. So how easy is it to clean the GoSun?
Well, about 90% of all the mess that you make stays inside the cooking apparatus that comes in and out of the tube. So it's super easy to take that stuff. It's all dishwasher safe. Take it over to the sink and just scrape it out. The tube itself begins to build up a little bit of residual food waste over time, and every 5 or 10 uses, we go in and wipe that out. A little scrubby, soap and water. It's no big deal.
Can you put it in the dishwasher?
You can. I don't think you can fit the actual GoSun grill.
No, the tube. Yeah.
But you can fit your arm in there and clean it out real easy. It's usually never a problem there.
I got it. So how much is this? What are we looking at price-wise for the different versions of the GoSun?
The GoSun Sports price right now is $279. The grill's going to MSRP at $549.
Okay.
And then there's a couple of different accessory kits that elevated. The accessory kit with the battery, I believe, is at $649.
What about the Mini?
The Mini is only discontinued because our laser cutting machine is no longer available or working for us. We had to reorder a new laser. We burn up our laser cutter, and we couldn't keep the Mini on the shelf, and so it's discontinued and will be available probably beginning of next year or something.
Okay, yeah, I see it's sold out. Well, that's a good thing to get sold out.
Sold out with high reviews. Maybe you're just trying to build up some anticipation.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to do it. That's a good way.
Yeah, the Mini's a great way to do like a little father-son project or just convert kids. It really only handles hot dogs. So back to the truest form of the GoSun, our original meal. At 2 hot dogs, 10 minutes, you got a meal for you and a buddy, and it's just tons of fun.
Yeah.
Super easy.
not a foot long. You have to be careful. Even the hot dog are too big. You know? Hey, listen, Patrick. Thank you so much for being with you tonight. Again, the website is GoSunStove, GoSunStove.com, or you can see it at our website at ComputerAmerica.com. And listen, best of luck to you. And
Seems like a really cool product.
It looks like a cool product. And thanks for telling our listeners about it.
Thank you, gentlemen. We really appreciate it, and I'll look forward to connecting with you in the future.
All right.
Great show, Craig.
All right. Thank you, Patrick. Take care. Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. There you go. The GoSun Solar Stove. Again, reasonable price, too. I mean,
for something I've never heard about? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then...
well, obviously, I heard about it. They were just on the show. Something I've never seen before. There we go.
There it is. Exactly. All right. Well, we're going to take a little break coming up here in a minute. And when we come back, we'll announce our social media winner of the week. That'll get announced too. And then we have some very interesting news stories to talk about. We'll just tease a couple of them here. Mozilla trips over Edge browser in Windows 10, and they're blaming Microsoft. Okay.
Yeah, that one's funny.
Okay.
Funny in a way that if you're a fan of the browser wars, it is what it is. But funny in a way that if you're a Firefox user, you might not find as funny.
Really? Okay. What else do we have here? We have several different stories here. A test tower for magnetic levitation elevators is almost ready.
Yeah, think of a day when you can have a magnetic levitation elevator.
That means no cables.
No cables, no nothing. Just good old-fashioned, strong, high electromagnetic forces lifting you high and higher up, and hopefully not to your death.
Right. Well, obviously, I mean, the that technology will obviously a lot of advantages to something like that, I would think.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then not last of all, but another one that I think we're really going to cover is Windows 10 and is it spying on you and how to stop it from said spying on you.
Is it spying on me? Oh my goodness.
Okay. It could be.
It could be. All right. As I said, we'll also have our social media winner of the week coming up. And another News Tips Bullet review from Marty Winston. It's the last one for this week. We'll have 2 new ones starting Monday. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Ben and I are going to be doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
I need a favor. You may not have anything to do with launching new products or new services at the company you work for or the companies you work with. So just in case the people there who are in charge of that aren't listening to Computer America tonight, please tell them about Bell Ringers. It starts August 31st as an hour-long Monday through Friday nationwide radio show on so many stations that more than 50 million people will be able to tune it in. 4 times each hour, a team of 3 takes the time to fully describe and explain something that's never been announced before, making it newer than news. And that same day, they send releases over 3 wires to traditional online and social media. Get full coverage on Slash Gear and more. Please just ask those marketing guys to take a look at bellringersmedia.com. That's BELLRINGERSMEDIA.com. bellringersmedia.com. But hurry, September segments are booking now. Thanks.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
No one else can hear us, right? Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time the Honeywell DH50W 50-pint dehumidifier. We try to keep our crosshairs on avoidable workspace interruptions and other productivity reducers. So we got in the double whammy of a Honeywell DH50W dehumidifier. The 50-pint rating is how much water it can condense in 24 hours. 45 to 50 pints from most rooms and 50 to 70 pints from basements or large rooms. Its handle-equipped tank holds a bit over 14 pints, and there's an auto shut-off when it's full, or it has a garden hose fitting that allows continuous draining. This dehumidifier is big on intelligence and convenience features. A digital humidistat that lets you set a target humidity, automatic on-off timer, automatic low-temperature defrost, 2 fan speeds, a washable air filter, and automatic recovery after power failures. Bottom line, you can explain that you're buying it to prevent mold and mildew. But the real reason for a Honeywell DH50W is that both your work and its caretaking are no sweat. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show, 33 minutes past the hour. Before we jump into our computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, we have something to do, and that something that we have to do is give away a Logitech Anywhere MX2 mouse to one of our listeners.
Yes, the Logitech MX Anywhere 2 wireless mouse. Someone's going to win that tonight, about $80. And that winner is Jody Ashby. Jody Ashby, congratulations.
And where'd you get Jody from?
I got Jody from I don't have it in front of me. It was one of the I think it was YouTube. YouTube. Okay. Jody Ashby, she wins the Logitech MX Anywhere 2 wireless mouse out at $80. It has that dark field technology, so it works on glass. It's got that easy switch technology button which allows you to use up to 3 computers and switch between them with the touch of the button. I mean, it's a beautiful mouse. And again, it is yours, Jody. Congratulations for being this week's show social media winner. And we will have another one next Friday. Okay. All right. So that said, we have some time. So let's do some computer news. Okay.
All right.
Let's do it. Computer news. Tonight's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. Slimwareutilities.com. And in this very first news story, you teased it. Windows, this is from BGR. Windows 10 is spying on almost everything you do. Here on, the third day since of Windows 10 release, right?
Yeah, you can call it that.
And here's how to opt out. I guess according to Zach Epstein, he's saying it's amazing. He says it's fantastic, it's wonderful, it's smoother, faster, smaller. It's got everything. It should have been everything that Windows 8 should have been. Saying addressing nearly all the major problems. He says, but yes, there's something you should know. Windows 10 is also spying on nearly everything you do.
Now, to be fair, this is misleading.
Okay, why is it misleading?
This is misleading, and it's kind of a clickbait title. It's just designed to catch your attention, get you to click, read it, blah, blah, blah. But it still raises a very good point, is that when you install Windows 10, you go through the obvious, end user license agreement, click accept, here, check mark, blah, blah, blah. And if you're one of those people that just kind of leaves everything check marked, doesn't read, flies right through it, and just goes ahead, then yeah, to a certain extent, Windows, you've just given your you just given Microsoft permission to collect as much data as they possibly can from you.
Who reads terms of service agreements anyway? I mean, because
Microsoft actually this time around with Windows 10 made a very clear and very concerted effort to make the language in English. Like they want to make it legible. It's not legalese. It's not 150 pages long. They made it actually rather short. I think it's 2 or 3 pages long, written in plain English. So they actually went out of their way to make the terms of service actually, you can actually read it and understand it. You don't need your lawyer sitting there on the clock and you have to pay them just to make sure you understand it. No, they actually went out of their way to make sure you could. And what Microsoft kind of did was, hey, if you leave this check marked, you give us permission to collect your browser habits. Allow us to scan your emails for keywords. Pretty much everything that you're doing on your computer, they want to collect that data, and they want to, at the end of the day, help serve you with more targeted ads through their own ad service or through their own ad services, and of course collect data on trends, which they can then sell to different companies in the market. Now, is that spying? I don't think so, because at any time you can of course opt out. You have to go in through your settings. I believe maybe you have to go through the Bing settings, not sure yet, but there's a setting on your computer or through your Microsoft account or Bing account that you can actually turn off at any time for you to stop sending these anonymous data points to Microsoft.
Okay.
Or if you actually sit down and read what you're agreeing to with the new operating system, you can uncheck the boxes that make it so that they can do this. So at the end of the day, Craig, I'm going to have to ask you, do you think this is really spying?
Not if you can uncheck it. I mean, if they'll let you accept the terms of service agreement, but allows you to specifically eliminate certain things in there. I've never really,
because this has been used for a long time with a lot of companies. Services that you use every day. If you just fly through and hit next, you're going to get browser toolbars. You're going to get antivirus software that you didn't want. You're going to get all these services. That's how they make money. And if you just slow down and take a little bit more of a careful look, it's very easy to avoid them. But I think it's the people who just fly right through it and don't read anything. They're the ones who are submitting to this, which at some point you kind of have to say personal responsibility. You gave them the right to do that.
Yeah. He says that users should consider dumping Cortana. What do you mean? It's one of the best features, one of the coolest new ones. But it says it also Cortana plays fast and loose with your data, and as a result, many users will find that the benefits do not outweigh the risk.
See, but again, that's also a little shaky, because I think that same warning has not been given to any other voice recognition software out there, because Siri does it. Smart televisions with voice controls do it.
Yep.
Any other voice controlled device, they'll take your voice, they'll take your recording, and they'll see the result that it gave you, and they'll use all these data points, because hey, you can't have 10 million people talking into a microphone and seeing what you get and seeing what you get out. You can't do that in a lab. The best way to do that is out in the wild, out in the open, collect that data, and then they can optimize the voice recognition much, much better than they ever could in a closed environment.
Okay.
So Cortana is the same way. They want to make Cortana better, and the best way to do that is to get a lot more data and a lot more usage cases out of it. And hey, the best way to get usage is, of course, on people's computers.
And of course, there's the third thing that he mentioned is the browser, the Edge browser. He says you can set both personalized ads in this browser and, quote, personalized ads whenever I use my Microsoft account to off. And if you do that, this will disable Microsoft's Google style ad tracking feature if you want to do that. Okay. So because the ad tracking feature is the thing where when you do that, and then it gets an idea what you're looking for, and then it kind of presents this information to you. So this could be useful. It could also be a little spooky when it happens, but I don't know if I would turn that off. Me personally,
these things are fighting what has become the industry standard, and the industry standard at this point is, of course, big data. Collect as much data as possible from as many points as possible, connect the dots, and hey, if you can, personalize it and start creating accounts for people, saying that, okay, Ben, he is a 24-year-old male, he likes video games, blah, 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 and we're going to serve him ads on maternity outfits. That does not make sense. That does not compute.
No.
That is not what people want at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So when they say targeted ads, they want to make sure that if they throw an ad in front of Ben, it's going to involve a new cooking book. It's going to involve a new video game. It's going to involve a new cell phone. It's going to have things that are pertinent to my interest. And I think that's where people kind of get the creepy chills down your spine. Someone is spying on me. Is that they're looking at all that and trying to serve you more specific ads.
Yeah, that kind of creeped your mom out. I remember she was looking at, I think, curtains.
Yeah, she was looking at curtains, and then all of a sudden Google said, "You're only looking for curtains from now on." And everywhere she looked, there were curtains.
Yeah, and no matter where she went, they had ads for curtains. She said, "What is this?" So, but you would like that. I mean, you want to know about a new video game coming out, and so if they can serve that up to you, wouldn't that be something that you would
Targeted ads aren't the worst thing in the world. Sometimes they can get a little excessive, and you can definitely see how, with all the data they collect on a particular person, they know things that you would rather them not know. Many companies know your physical address. Many companies know what your interests are and what you're buying. They know your spending habits. They know pretty much everything you could possibly know about a person. And as a privacy advocate, a lot of people don't like that. Just in general, companies should not have a complete makeup of a person's personal life. But hey, that's just the world we live in, where targeted ads are actually preferred.
There you go.
Preferred and more effective. There's data, again, talking about data all over the place that shows that, hey, if you're gonna advertise, you have to be in the targeted advertising racket, because it's just more profitable.
Yeah. Okay. It's your turn to pick a story.
It's my turn to pick a story. Who knew? It came up so fast. All right. How about this one? Tesla. It's a coil kind of deal, as lightning shooting off it. But there's also a car company. And last fall, Tesla, and by the way, the article I'm pulling this information from, Andrew Tarantola and Engadget. This from today, where there's actually a tweet by Elon Musk, who knew that we'd be talking about a multi-million-dollar company, and we'd be talking, and as the press, we'd be talking about tweets. But here we are, and a tweet from Elon Musk said that he's almost ready to release highway auto steer and parallel auto park software update.
Wow.
So this, obviously, highway auto steer and parallel auto park software update means that these will be features that existing Tesla vehicles will be able to download, update, and then start using if they have the autopilot mode, which was introduced in the Tesla Model S. These, of course, the cars use ultrasonic radar. They have a lot of systems and a lot of sensors to avoid obstacles. Before, they said that you can only use it on your own property. Don't try to use it out in public. But I guess, hey, they're ready to take it to at least the highway, where drivers will be able to go long distances without ever touching the wheel or the pedals. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, it's going to take some getting used to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure the first time you're doing it, you're going to be inches off that wheel. And I'm sure by the 100th time you've used it, you'll be sleeping in the seat. It's going to take some adjusting to, but I think it's going to be an adjustment that people are going to welcome. So they have not released a release date yet for the software update, Of course, he's just announced it on social media that it's far from an actual software pushing out. But there's also another tweet here saying that the final corner case is dealing with low contrast lane markings, so faded white on gray concrete while driving into the sun at dusk. Obviously, they're using some sort of optical sensor, to recognize what a lane is and how that car should stay in that lane. But all in all, very, very cool that with a simple software update, not take your car into the dealer, pay $800,000, and they'll update the software in your car. Nope, just a simple connected to your Wi-Fi, push through the update, and bam, your Model S car just turned into a semi-autonomous driving car.
That is amazing how they can add new features to an existing car, making you feel like you have a whole new car. You know,
the Tesla cars seem to be a great investment.
Yeah, I mean, I can.
Which is good because you're paying an arm and a leg. There's no doubt about it. The Tesla cars, for what they are, you're paying about $80,000 up to $100,000 depending on the features for a sedan, and that is high-end luxury car. But if you can afford it, and they seem to be pushing these updates, they seem to be pushing the updates, and they seem to be building the infrastructure around the car sales, where they have the rapid charge cars, the rapid charge car stations. If you can afford it, I don't think anyone has ever regretted buying their Tesla.
No, I don't think so. Not at all. It's a beautiful automobile. There's no question about it.
Very nice looking and very fast, and of course, all electric.
Yep, exactly. Electric cars. Okay, just a status update here. Evidently, Microsoft is now reporting that 14 million devices since Wednesday are now on Windows 10. It's in what?
14 million.
Yeah. Since the launch. Okay. And they're continuing to roll out Windows 10 to PCs in waves, and evidently it's going to take some time for Microsoft to deliver to everyone who is eligible for a free upgrade. Even so, the first 24 hours is yielded 14 million devices are now carrying it.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, they're quoting someone from Microsoft saying we still have many more upgrades to go before we catch up to each of you that reserved your upgrade. Rest assured, we're working 24/7 to continue the upgrade process and are prioritizing the quality of your upgraded experience over everything else. Have you checked your system tray? Do you have Windows 10 available yet? No.
Regardless, even if I don't, if you were listening to last night's show, hint, hint, you can definitely go back and catch it. I will be upgrading tonight, regardless if I have been selected for the wave. Turns out I have not been. Here's my update. It says notify me when ready. But regardless, I'll be skipping the line and using that special link to upgrade, I guess, manually.
Yeah. Now, it says, though 14 million is still a far cry from 1 billion, that's what they're expecting. It's a start. And according to Microsoft, the demand for Windows 10 has been unprecedented. They said it was an incredible 24 hours for Windows and its fans. I think Microsoft said, we're humbled and grateful to see the response to Windows 10. This is from Microsoft. And the Windows 10 sort of signifies a new beginning for it. You know, gone are the days of Microsoft releasing a major OS by a service pack. You know, but there it is. Unless something changes, Windows 10 will be the last major version of Windows ever. And you know, there's my Windows Forever thing,
which we all know won't happen.
But what he's saying, let me read that again. Unless something changes, Windows 10 will be the last.
It's just an author. By the way, for everyone out there, we're reading the news. We're going over these a lot of great journalists.
That's Paul Lilly.
Even Paul Lilly, he's just a man. He's not a soothsayer. He does not know the future. He is not an oracle. He does not know the secrets of the universe. He is just a man with, admittedly, really, really great opinions and a way of finding really, really great and interesting articles. But at the same time, no way this is going to be the last one.
Okay. All right. We'll see.
I hate the fact that we have to sit here for the next ever and wait and see.
That's true.
Because that's what you're saying is that whatever. Anyways,
we'll never know.
Yep. All right. So how about this one? the NVIDIA Shield,
Yes.
the NVIDIA Shield tablet, I should say,
Mhm.
it's hot. It is it is raging fire through the gaming community.
It is
It
on
is
fire.
amazingly. I mean, this thing is just burning off the shelves. It is so incredibly hot,
Literally.
literally.
Mm.
And yes, those are all jokes. In that NVIDIA has started to recall and by the way, a voluntary recall of 88,000 NVIDIA Shield tablets. Not the NVIDIA Shield controller and the NVIDIA Shield all-in-one kind of deal, but the tablet that comes separate, that syncs up with it oh so nicely, that were sold between July 2014 and July 2015.
Okay.
These were in GameStop. They were on Amazon, Best Buy, Newegg, and Tiger Direct, and other online web retailers. But they're doing it because of a certain lithium-ion battery problem that causes these batteries to overheat, and what they claim is a fire hazard. As of this point, there have been no reported fires caused by this, but NVIDIA is making good on their recall, and they said that 83,000 of these tablets were sold in the US, with 5,000 of them sold in Canada. So if you want to check, you can go into your system updates, and the latest software update will be July 1st, 2015. You'll know that anything after that, you're in the clear. But anything before that, you're going to want to see if you can claim this rebate. They have a couple model numbers, a couple model numbers here on the website if you'd like to. Again, this is from Maxim PC and Paul Lilly yet again. But yeah, you know, all that kind of stuff. Regardless, no known reported fires yet. They say it gets overheated, and they're voluntarily recalling their 83,000 tablets. All in all, this is not good. This is not good for the simple fact that the NVIDIA Shield, as a console, as a handheld device, as a whatever you want to call it, as a gaming platform, it's still very small. It's very, very fledgling. It was only announced about 2 years ago. And for them to have such a massive recall already right off the bat does not bode well for the system in general, because I think Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo can kind of take the sucker punch and say, okay, Xbox, we have Red Rings of Death, the PlayStation is perfect, we don't have anything to do with it, but the Nintendo, blah blah blah, whatever it may be, they can take the hit, and then they can kind of say, oh, we'll make it up in the long run. There might not be a long run for NVIDIA and its console handheld tablet market. So hopefully this doesn't derail it too much by recalling what is the very beginning of their foray into this whole segment.
Yep. Okay. Well, just be forewarned. That's it. We have time maybe to do one more quick short story. This from Popular Science. A weed delivery service will fly drugs to customers via drone, and also they'll accept Bitcoin. Okay.
If there was ever a sentence that epitomized the last 3 years in American politics and American technology,
there it is.
That would be that sentence.
Yeah.
and seriously, like, that's it. It's just that one sentence is the past 3 years, all wrapped up in a nice little package.
Well, according to the story from Popular Science, Trees is a Bay Area startup that combines the novelty of selling box kits with the functionality of California's medical marijuana industry and the enduring gimmick of drone delivery. And they have a promotional video. Prices for the boxes range from $59 to $149, and each contains at least a few grams of product. The boxes are themed around flavor and convenience, with the mini boxes highlighted as for those that need a small amount of cannabis on the go, perfect for contents or going on a hike, unquote. Trees notes that the drone delivery is a future service and might not be available in all areas they currently deliver. There you go. I guess it was bound to happen sooner or later, especially since it doesn't weigh very much, so they can bring this stuff.
Ridiculous.
It is, but there it is. It's illegal on some level, but operating as though it's normal and permitted in part of the economy already. They're doing this.
The hazy gray area being, of course, the acquisition of a medical marijuana license is notoriously pretty easy. And of course, delivering these drones and the recipient at the other end is not always verified. So you can't always be 100% sure that the person ordering it is the person receiving it.
That can be messy.
That can be very messy, especially if, hey, they have no need other than recreational use of marijuana. In California, recreational use is not there yet, only medical. So for medicine purposes, I don't know even how I would feel about traditional medical supplies being delivered by drone, let alone something as sought after by so many people as medical marijuana.
Yeah. But it looks like it's going to happen. I mean, unless some...
What, marijuana for recreational use?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. Whether it's going to be delivered by drone or your local, you have to go to the store to get it. But eventually, I think.
See, I'm hoping there's a weed man. Like there used to be a milkman who used to come to your door. And you set your bottles out, and they take the old ones and set down new ones. That's what I'm hoping for, but with like a pot man.
There you go. Well, that wraps up the show. Again, thanks all
90
for
seconds.
being with us here tomorrow. Coming up on Monday, we're going to have Interdrone here with us. This is actually a convention, a large convention that goes on. Ted Parr is the president CEO of BZ Media, and this is a convention that brings you up on anything and everything having to do with drone technology. And it looks really interesting. He's going to be here with us in the first hour. And then in the second hour, we're going to have computer and technology
60
news.
seconds.
And that, of course, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Hey, listen, thanks again for being with us here. Thanks to Fingerprint Play, Nancy, the CEO of Fingerprint Play. And, of course, the GoSun solar cooker in the second hour. And thanks to all of you for being here on the show. Have a great weekend. Go see Mission Impossible. Do something fun. And Ben and I will see you here Monday, same time, same station. So until Monday night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you Monday night.
Don't text and drive.
Yeah, don't. Unless you're driving a Tesla.
10 seconds.
It'll drive for you.
Night, everyone.
Night.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, everybody, again, thanks for watching the show. And Ben and I will see you here on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.